Welcome back, personal finance students. We are still in the credit unit and we are going to move on to the next idea called the debt snowball. Now, when we were in our budget, time value of money, personal financial statement, we did a little bit with that debt snowball, and the idea being, all right, it takes me 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it is. I have pay myself first money in my budget. And the first priority is to get an emergency fund, right? $1,000 set aside for a deductible or in case the fridge breaks down or whatever the minor catastrophe has to happen to be. Now I'm going to take that pay myself first money and I'm going to start paying it on top of my old credit card debt. And in doing that, it's going to pay that credit card debt off much quicker than just making the minimum payments. And once I've gotten rid of credit card number one, I take my pay myself first money and what I was paying on credit card one and put all of that on credit card two. Right. And that will snowball and pay off that credit card even quicker than that. Now, some of those numbers were ballpark, right? We kind of guess and say, all right, take the pay yourself first and the credit card one and the credit card two, take all of that payment and divide it by the outstanding balance and ballpark how many months is it going to take me to get rid of that debt. We're going to do a similar idea, but it's going to be a little bit more formal because we have some data and we got numbers to help us work. Right? So we borrowed just short of $41,000. We created our 3-year car loan. Every single payment paid a total of $44,000, $3,200 in interest. We then said, wow, we can't afford that. What if we stretch it out to a 6-year car loan? So we're paying not quite as much, right? We're stretching the loan out twice as long. We're paying a total of $47,000 to pay that debt off and a total of $6,500 in interest. Right? So we're paying almost $3,300 more interest because we stretched the loan out. And that may be what it is, right? You may borrow the money because you need the car. You have the car, you pay all 72 payments, and you pay what it is, right? The cost of borrowing money, it is what it is. Well, what if a year down the road you get a new job, right? What if a year down the road you get a second job? What if you get a raise? Whatever that happens to be, and I can afford to pay more on my debt than I was paying. Well, let's go ahead and ask ourselves that question. How much sooner could I pay the car off? How much money could I save if I made additional payments? Now, again, why work harder, work smarter? I'm going to take my 6-year car loan and I'm going to copy the whole shebang. I'm going to copy all of the numbers, all the formulas. I'm going to leave one open column just to make it easy to understand, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it. Now let's go ahead and relabel. Get rid of our colors so we make sure that they notice that they're different. So after a year, I'm able to make an additional payment. I'm actually able to make an additional $300 payment on top of my $600 car payment. Now I'm going to notice that my beginning loan amount is not the same. So I'm going to go back and make that adjustment, make sure that I'm actually borrowing the same number, the same $40,895 number. And again, I go look at the bottom and make sure that both schedules look identical. Yep, both of them, I pay them off at zero after 72 months. But I don't want to wait that long, right? I don't want to wait, or I can afford to not wait, right? I've got $300 additional that I can start making payments on this car and pay it off early. You'll see people do this a lot with their home, right? Make an extra $100 or $200 payment every mortgage payment, and they'll save 5, 6, 7, 10 years worth of interest because they pay the principal off quicker, right? Well, we can afford to pay an additional $300. How much quicker can we pay this loan off? How much interest would we save? Well, let's figure that out. So again, Debt Snowball is our new amortization schedule. We're making an additional $300 payment starting on payment number 13. So I'm going to scroll down here to payment number 13, and I'm going to say, let's go ahead and add another $300. Rather than making a $600 car payment, let's make a $900 car payment. Now, that one chunk of $300 is not enough to pay off the bill. So let's do it for a year. Let's do it payment 13 to 24. And how much quicker did I pay off that loan? Well, as I look right here, I paid off almost $4,000 in principal, $3,500, I guess. Making every single payment, I still owe $28,600. Paying the additional $300, I only owe $24,900. Right? I've saved about, I shouldn't say I've saved because it's my money. I'm spending more money, but I'm cutting down my principal. As I cut down my principal, I will eventually save interest. Well, 1 year of paying that additional $300 didn't do the trick. Let's go ahead and do another year. And again, here's where it's kind of ballpark. I'm going a year at a time until this number here gets to 0. Well, 2 years didn't quite get it done, but again, I'm $7,000 less by making the additional payments. Let's do another year. So I'm on payment 36. I'm going to drag this down to 48. I'm getting pretty close. Now I'm going to start dragging it down one at a time until I go negative. When I get to payment, in this example, I get to payment number 52. I only owe them $540.99. I've got an interest payment of $225. If I make my final payment of $543.24, I'll have paid the loan off. Now, here's my catch. My loan is paid off. All of this data down here is worthless because I paid the loan off. All my negative numbers are worthless. So I'm going to go delete all of those negative numbers. Now, if I ask the question, how much sooner did I pay the loan off? Well, my last payment was 52. I saved 20 months. Right? Didn't have to make payment 53 all the way down to 72, so my count is 20 months. Or I can look at it and say, rather than paying $47,000 in total payments, I only had to pay 45. Well, how much did I save? Well, what's the difference between that total payment and that total payment? I saved $1,500 in payments. Now again, label it payments saved. Now, in theory, my interest is going to be the same, right? I paid $6,500 in interest versus $49. Well, what's the difference between those two numbers? Same $1,500. A penny here or there rounded. We're not going to get worked up over that. But I saved about $1,500. Right? Whether total payments or interest, either way, I saved about almost $1,600 by making additional payments. Again, starting on the 13th month in this example, I made an additional $300 payment. I Phil handled that down for a year, didn't quite pay it off. Phil handled it down for another year, didn't quite pay it off. Phil handled it down one more, and I got pretty close. Then I started dragging it one by one until I got to a negative number. Once I got to a negative number, I said, well, what's the exact last payment? The finance company, when they gave me that $658 number, they were assuming I was going to make all 72 payments. That's why we have to fudge the number a little bit and do some math to say, what is my exact actual last payment? Because I paid more. And again, my final answer is I saved almost $1,600 in doing this. So that is a look at purchasing a vehicle, calculating car payments, creating a couple of different amortization schedules, and then using our debt snowball idea to start paying the bill off earlier, right? And when you started paying it off earlier or paid off additional payments changes, right? We just made that scenario up that we started in year 2. We could have started on payment number 2 if we wanted to. We could have waited until the 3rd year and start making additional payments there. Our example, we just started making additional payments on the 2nd year.